Hi, good morning. This is Mr. Rodriguez. Just a quick recap before we get into workshopping the counter argument. In previous videos, we highlighted and identified the hook and then the connecting background information that segues into the thesis statement. And then we highlighted the two supporting arguments that will be the focus of the conversation, which support the thesis statement. Easy breezy, lemon squeezy. Then we looked at one body paragraph. We looked at the cited evidence in purple, and then why that cited evidence mattered, which is the analysis in blue. So we have cited evidence, why this cited evidence matters to the thesis statement. Then we have another cited evidence, and then more expounding on why that cited evidence matters to the thesis statement. Very organized writing. Again, this is a student sample, so I'm pretty happy about the organization. And I feel this is like living evidence that something is going right and something is connecting among the audience. So this is good. I want to take a look at the counter argument now. I know this is a counter argument because I read the entire essay one, but I could see this indicator, the transition word right here, although. And the although it's indicative of looking at the opposing view and taking the time to see both sides of the argument, maybe concede that there is something to give credit on the opposite side of the fence. So let's just take a look at this. Although there were many people who looked forward to this hope, not only in their eyes, but in their hearts, there were many who thought differently. My suspicions about a counter argument or opposing view are correct. For example, right after people started to realize that Dr. King was holding power in his speeches, he got killed. Not only that, but when Senator Robert Kennedy announced this news publicly, it was devastating news for everyone who had hope. It was as if their hope was all gone, not so long after, 63 days after Kennedy announced King's death, he was killed. And again, this he is the pronoun. We probably want to say Senator Kennedy. Even so, some of the negativity stopped sooner or later. They made segregation and racism illegal. Overall, Unit 3 brought us readers, listeners, positivity, hope, aspiration, and etc. So right here, I do see a clear counter argument. I'm not saying this is the perfect counter argument, or it's free of grammar errors, because it's not. We see them, but the structure is there, which means all we have to do is clean it up a little bit, dot our I's, cross our T's. There are a lot of run-ons right here, so we just need to end punctuate, or maybe fuse them with the right coordinating conjunctions, add the comma. That's neither here nor there. For beginning teachers, pick your battles. Either you're dealing with the grammar or deal with the content. And I would say for the overall edification of your class and the writing process, I would say deal with the organization and then the content. You can dot your I's and cross your T's later, and then maybe have an opportunity to have a grammar lesson on clauses, independent clauses versus dependent clauses, etc. But right here, I'm going to highlight the counter argument sample right here. So he gets killed, and I will highlight this in green. There we go. So that's taking a look at the counter argument, and we exemplify. For example, right after people started to realize that Dr. King's speeches held power, he was killed. Okay, and then there's another example where Robert Kennedy was also killed 63 days after he announced Dr. King's death. Now here's where we rebut. So we have the although, which is going to look at the other side. That's the yin. Now we go back to the yang. We have that Tao dualism, that dichotomy, where we look at both sides because they still exist. They're part of that universe of discourse, that conversation. We don't want to neglect any aspect or facet of that conversation. And so this makes it a complete Tao, a complete conversation. Now here we go rebutting, and I'll highlight the rebuttal. And I know it's the rebuttal because it says although. It starts off with that, and then we turn right around to the hope and to the positivity. Oh, I shall highlight that purple again. And what I have my students do is I have them highlight the counter argument green, and then the rebuttal to that counter argument, this purple or fuchsia. So that way they get a clear understanding. If my students aren't able to highlight, it tells me that they don't understand what's going on. They don't understand what a counter argument is comprised of. And this is where we get to remediate, reteach, etc. So highlighting for new teachers, I recommend it. That way your students know very specifically what they're supposed to provide in content. And we shall adjourn. I hope this counter argument tutorial was beneficial, and you guys have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.